Hello, I just wanted to do a quick video talking about maybe sort of streamlining Anki decks, because I know Guy mentioned something on the Facebook group about using models, and unfortunately the video about models doesn't really go into a lot of depth as to why they're so cool. So I just wanted to go through what I do with image cards and hopefully do a little bit of a tutorial, and it should help making cards in the future. So yeah, wouldn't it be cool if you could have if you could have a deck that when you added material, rather than having the front and back and having to make hundreds and hundreds of cards and maybe adding an extra field for an image and stuff like that, you could have a setup model um, where you could put one image in with multiple arrows going into it, answers for different things, but not continually having to choose which bits you've got up here every single time you want to sort of make the cards and end up missing things and stuff like that. So essentially, if you had a title, so you give your card a title. So let's call it test card 1. You'd place the image file here. I've given this little field a title question because sometimes it's, say, an image of a muscle or something like that, and you're showing attachment points and different things like that in the muscle, say. But one of the questions you want is, what muscle is shown here? And obviously it will be in the title as the name of the muscle. So you could have, what card is this? And then obviously, like, if you have a specific thing for A, you'd have, this is A. Say there was a B, this is B. But you didn't have C, so you didn't want it to generate a card with C. That would be kind of cool. Say the question for B is more like innovation rather than just an arrow pointing towards it. So you could be like, rather than saying this is B, this is for A, say, but you want the question to change. So it's like, something like that. So you put that in the question format. So the sort of thing is, so basically you sort of got this whole thing, and then you'd hit add, and hopefully it should make the right amount of cards. 3 cards, which is exactly what you want. You want the one about the title, the one about A, and the one about B. So if we then have a look at the actual cards that it's generated, hopefully, here we go. So we have, what card is this? Test card 1. What is being shown at A? This is A. What innervates A? This is the nerve for A, which is exactly what we've got, and we don't have anything for the blank spaces. So hopefully you've now got an idea of how these conditional statements work. So what I want to do now is basically just run through creating a model with these conditional statements, so like essentially people can follow on at home and learn how to do it. I'm sorry if it's patronizing. Tough. So the first thing you want to do is go into your Add Items to Deck screen and click the little spanner. Yeah, it's a spanner. And you're given this deck properties list. And this is where you can make new models, and it's the same as in the other video. But what I want to do now is I want to add a new model. I'm going to make a basic model so that we can add everything to it and work along together. Add this basic model. Edit its name. We're going to call it Demo Conditionals. I can spell. And then we're going to rename the card templates for this. So we can rename this title question. And we will rename this one A. I'll do one more for B as well. So we can have 2 facts on this particular model. Obviously, we don't want to disable that either. Enable. Make sure that's enabled. So, with your own cards, I recommend, like I said before, making loads of these. So maybe sort of A to P, A to Z even if you want, because that just gives you more scope for doing stuff, because the fields you leave blank won't be made into cards, which is the great thing about these statements. So now that we've got our 3 fields, we then want to go into card layout, and we will start with A, so all templates A. But before we can actually start making the template, we need to specify our fields. Now, like I showed you before, there are a few more fields than there are types of card template, and that's because you want a question and an answer for each one, and obviously the field for the image. So the first one, you can rename them down here, you want to call title. because you want that to be the thing that comes up in your deck browser as the first thing. You don't want duplicates of that, and you don't want empty entries because you always want to have like kind of a title to your cards. The next field you want to have is image. So obviously these are image cards that you want to be making. I'm not going to use images here because it just takes time, but you can drag and drop images into this like you know. They will then add fields for the answer to A and the answer to B, but also you want fields for questions, like different questions for A rather than a standard one, because it just gives you an awful lot more scope to ask questions about, say, innovation, blood supply, and things like that that you can't point at with an arrow. The reason I do it with this two-field system is because if you are using arrows to point to things, which you will be most of the time, you don't want to sit there and write questions for each arrow. It's like, what does this arrow mean? You just want something standard to come up, hence this system. And then another one for B, question. A final one you can add is title question, again, like I mentioned before, so that you can say, what does this picture show? So now that you have all of your fields set up, you want to make your conditional statements work for, let's say, to begin with A. You will want image in there, but let's start with something that's completely blank. The first thing you want to do is tell Anki to only display this card when there is something in A, in the field A. And to do that, you have to write this here. So it starts off with curly bracket, because that's the thing that indicates that it's a field, hash A, and it finishes with curly bracket /A. So that means that everything that's in between these two things will only be displayed if there's something in field A. And the thing you want to first do is say what is indicated by A. Excellent. One of the things to notice is that because this is there and there isn't something in that field at the moment, nothing will come up in the preview. That's a good sign. That probably means you're not doing anything wrong. And then for the answer, obviously, you just want to have whatever's in field A. There we go. The other thing with this is that you need to show the image. So again, curly brackets, the image field, which you can see we have named image. And that is enough. But the good thing with this is that you can take it a little bit further, so you can make use of these AQ fields. And that can be done by saying, only show this if there isn't something in the AQ field. So the way you can do that is by using this conditional statement, which is curly bracket, then the power sign, or a little hat, I don't know what that's actually called. And then you want to say if there's nothing in AQ, so the field is A_Q, and then you close this. And again, you only want to show this, so you don't want it to go wrong, so you want to complete the statement /A_Q. There we go. So this will only be displayed if there's nothing in AQ. Now the problem is if there is something in AQ, you then need to tell Anki that you want to display that instead. So again, you need another last conditional statement, which this time is if there is something in AQ, then I'll close it just for now. /A_Q. And you want to display whatever is in that field, so you need to write it out once more. And you end up with this thing that looks a bit more like a mess with each thing that you type. Again, and that's it. Pretty much that's everything you need to do for the A card template. And then you need to repeat this for B, and it's slightly different for field, but I'll just go through them and I'll stop talking now. So for the title question, you basically just want this card to generate if there is a title question. And you want it to display the title. There we go. And that is everything you need to make conditional cards, which is good. So let's just test them out. Let's close this. Demo conditionals is done. You have title, question A and B, 3 types of card. None of them have been disabled. Notice, otherwise you need to go in and enable them. Close, and close this. So again, make sure your model is on demo conditionals. You'll see that your fields are all there. You can call this card 1, image 1, okay. Oops, sorry, in fact that's not a question. This is answer A. This is answer B. Oh, we want to give B a question. This is an active question. I won't do a title question just to show that it doesn't work, and I'll do this for another reason as well, which I'll show in a second. Right, so now you can see, hopefully with this, we should generate 2 cards when we hit add. So let's find out. Added 2 cards for card 1. There we go. And let's close this down. So let's have a look at the cards themselves, see if they got made. So let's review. What is indicated by A, image 1. Your answer, this is answer A. Excellent. I think I remember that one. This is an alternative question, image 1. And it should be answer B. Excellent. Good. So we finished. That was nice. But the one awesome thing about doing it this way, other than the rest of the awesomeness, is that if you do decide to change questions, if you realize that there's something to do, you don't need to make a new card. So say you wanted to add a title question to this. Sorry, so what is the title of this card? You can enter it directly into the card browser with the image that you would have wanted. And then you just click this button here, which generates new cards. So you can say, do it for everything because the other ones won't be duplicated. Hit OK, and it will make an extra card. Think, what is the title of this card? Card 1. And now when you go back to the deck to review, what is the title of this card? Card 1. Good. Finished. So hopefully that was a quick tour of how to make conditional models, which hopefully will make our Anki cards an awful lot better. I hope. Anyway, thanks a lot. Cheers.